Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today our topic is supply function or determinants of supply. Here in this lecture we will study the various factors which determine or influence the supply of goods and services. Dear students, supply function studies the functional relationship between supply of a commodity and its various determinants. Determinants of supply are the factors that affect the supply of a product or service. There are numerous factors that determine supply, such as the price of product, price of related goods, state of technology, etc. The function which studies the relationship between quantity supplied of a product and its price and other associated factors is called supply function. A supply function has a single dependent variable, that is the quantity supplied, and many independent variables like price of a commodity, price of related goods, price of factors of production, etc., as expressed in the equation given here. The equation is Sx is a function of Px, Pr, Nf, G, Pf, T, Ex, and Gp. The equation states that supply of a commodity X, that is Sx, which is a dependent variable, is a function of own price of the commodity, that is Px, price of related goods, that's Pr, number of firms in the industry, written as Nf. It also depends on goal of the firm, that is G, price of factors of production, that is Pf, state of technology, which is T, business expectations, that is Ex, and lastly, it depends on government policies, written as Gp. Now, let us discuss these factors one by one in a much greater detail in coming slides. Let's first come to the first factor, which is own price of a commodity. Students, the most important factor that influences the supply of a commodity is its own price. And the relationship between supply of a commodity and its own price is a direct one. That is the positive relation, which is if the price of a product increases, then the supply will increase, and if the price of a product decreases, the supply will decrease. And economists refer to the phenomenon that quantity supplied increases as price increases and decreases as price decreases as the law of supply. Now coming to another important factor which determines supply of goods and services, that is price of related goods. Supply of any commodity depends not only on its own price but also on the price of its related goods, that is, on the price of substitute and complementary goods. Any change in the price of related products would influence the supply of a product by causing substitution of one product for another. For example, if the price of wheat increases in the market, the farmers would tend to grow more wheat than rice. This would increase the supply of wheat and decrease the supply of rice in the market. Another example may be firms which are able to manufacture related products. They will shift their production to a product the price of which increases substantially related to other related products, thus causing a reduction of the supply of the products which were produced earlier. Another important factor which determines the supply of goods and services is number of firms in the industry. Students, market supply of a commodity depends upon the number of firms in the industry. Increase in the number of firms implies increase in market supply, and decrease in the number of firms implies decrease in market supply of a commodity, which means that greater the number of sellers, greater will be the quantity of a product or service supplied in the market, and vice versa. Another important factor is goal, or we can say objective of the firm. The objective or goal of a firm also determines the supply of a product produced by it. Students, firms can have different goals like maximization of profits and maximization of sales revenue. Supply of a commodity under these two broad objectives is likely to be different. Like, if the firms aim to maximize profits, more quantity of a commodity will be offered only at a higher price. On the other hand, if the firms aim to maximize sales or revenue rather than profits, more will be supplied even at the same price. Thus, the production of the product produced by firms and hence its supply in the market would be larger if the firms have the objective of maximization of sales revenue. Another important factor is price of factors of production. Students, price of factors of production is also an important determinant of supply. That is, the supply of a commodity is also affected by the price of various factors of production, or we can say input prices used for the production of the commodity. Supply is indirectly proportional to prices of factor inputs, or we can say the supply of a product and cost of production are inversely related to each other. Students, increase in factor prices reduces the supply, whereas decrease in factor prices increases the supply. Let me explain it in a more detailed way. If the price of an input, or we can say factor, say wages of labor, rent of land, price of raw materials, etc., increases, the cost of production will surely increase. Consequently, profit will tend to decline. Seeing an unprofitable situation, a firm will reduce the supply of a commodity in order to avoid losses. On the other hand, if the factor prices reduce, it will lead to reduction in cost of production, which will tend to increase the profit level of producers. Seeing a profitable situation, since profit is a major incentive for producers to supply more goods and services, a firm will increase the supply of goods and services. Now coming to another important factor, which is state of technology. Students, the state of technology has an important bearing on the supply of a commodity. Improvement in technology, that is a better and advanced technology, enables more efficient production of goods and services, thus reducing the costs and increasing the profit level of producers. As a result, supply is increased, which leads to rightward shift in supply curve. For example, the use of fertilizers and high-yielding varieties of seeds increases the production of crops, which further increases the supply of food grains in the market. Now coming to another important factor, that is the business expectations. Students' expectations about future course of business also determines the supply of goods and services. In situations of bullish expectations, investment tends to rise and supply starts rising. Just the opposite may happen in situations of bearish expectations. Now the question is, what are bullish expectations and what are bearish expectations? Students, a positive outlook on business activity for a future period of time refers to bullish expectations. In such a situation, producers expect the prices to increase and hence they will increase the supply of goods and services. That is, when businesses expect the future prices to increase, they will employ more resources to increase their output, and this may increase current supply as well as the future supply. Bearish expectations, on the other hand, refers to negative outlook on business activity for a future period of time. That is, businesses expect the prices and hence market to go down or is moving down. In such a situation, the producers reduce the production in order to avoid losses and hence supply will decrease. Now coming to last important factor which determines the supply of goods and services, and that is government policy. Students, various government policies like taxation and subsidy policy of the government also impacts market supply of a commodity. Increase in taxation may decrease supply, while increase in subsidies may increase it when other determinants of supply are constant. Students, as the taxes increases, the overall cost increases and thus reduces the profit level of producers. Therefore, increase in taxes reduces the supply. And the opposite may happen in case of decrease in taxes. That is, if the tax rate is low, then the supply of a product would increase. Subsidies given to farmers, on the other hand, reduces the cost of production and the suppliers can gain profits by selling the products or services. Accordingly, an increase in subsidies will increase supply and a decrease in subsidies will decrease supply in the same manner. Thank you.